हाँ कर्मानंदा दिख रही है मैडम को भी अभी।
Okay, we can turn off the home sound. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Namaste.
Namaste.
Greetings and welcome.
Good morning, everyone.
Thank you for everybody getting up early in the morning and coming to this yoga camp. My name is Ravi Khanna. On behalf of HCO Board and Hindu Temple of Dayton, we welcome you all to the first session of this two-day yoga meditation camp. The main purpose of and goal of this camp is to introduce our Dayton and surrounding communities, and now we are connected to India also, to real meaning of word yoga. Yoga is more than physical movements and various postures. Yoga means union of body, mind, and spirit. And by doing yoga, we also get health benefits at physical, mental, and emotional levels. In the next 2 days, we have 4 sessions during which we will hear from several mentors in the field of yoga and meditation, many of whom are of international fame, guiding us how to take care of our body, mind, and spirit, and enlightening us with their knowledge and practical experience. From a spiritual standpoint, yoga is to create peace and harmony within us, and also extend that to our family, community, and society, and possibly can help in achieving global peace. We have world-class teachers, experts in their field, who will give you a flavor of various styles of yoga and meditation techniques during this camp. Each session will be followed by ample time for questions and answers. So please put in your questions in chat box. Now, I would like to invite our current board president, Dr. Hema Pandrangi, who will be introducing our speaker for this session. She had the vision for this yoga camp and introduced me to all the local yoga meditation teachers in town. So we have this camp going. She's the only female interventional cardiologist in Dayton. Hema has great organizational skills and keeps a good balance in her professional and personal life, social and community activities. She has been serving on the temple board for the last 5 years, very dedicated to all temple related activities, including special pujas and all other administrative work related to the temple. Truly a giving person. Hema ji, it's yours.
Thank you, Ravi ji. Thank you so much for that very beautiful introduction about yoga. It is indeed my honor, and in fact, honor of the entire Dayton community, to welcome Swamini Agamananda Saraswati ji to this beautiful session on Appara Ekadasi. Today is Appara Ekadasi. Appara means limitless. So I'm hoping all of us will get limitless benefits on this day by participating in this beautiful session that will be initiated or started by Swami Agamananda Saraswati ji. Swamini is a disciple of Puja Sri Swami Dayananda Saraswati. She studied Vedanta and Sanskrit at Sandipani Institute for the Study of Vedanta and Sanskrit in California in a 3-year resident course under the direction of Swami Dayananda Saraswati. She has a PhD in Sanskrit and Indian Studies from Harvard University. She served as the editor and writer for Arsha Vidya publications. She teaches introductory Vedanta and Bhagavad Gita courses at the Hindu University of America. She also teaches Vedanta classes at Arsha Vidya Gurukulam, Pennsylvania. Swamini ji will be talking on yoga, the means and the end. Welcome, Swamini ji. Namaskaram.
Namaskaram and namaste to everyone. As Raviji said, this word yoga comes from the Sanskrit root yuj, to join. So the question is, joining what? To what? As human beings, we are endowed with a lot of self-awareness, which we actually take for granted. We're always and certainly aware, all of us, that we exist and that we are conscious. We're very sure about it. Why? How do we know this? How do I know that I exist and I am conscious? If I want to know the color of an object, how am I going to know that? I need a means of knowledge. Eyes. Only the eyes will work. Nothing else will work. There's no other way. Similarly, if I want to know the sound of a particular musical instrument, how will I know that? Only by my ears. No other way. If someone's talking to me and then suddenly I'm starting to wonder if my child is safe, will I hear what they're saying? No. So it's not only these senses, but we need the mind to be with us in order to pick up these cognitions. So like this, we have these means of perception, these 5 means of perception, and backed by the mind, and this is how we understand the world. This is how we make our way in the world. Now, if I see smoke billowing out of the side of a mountain forest, what do I understand from that? I understand that there's a fire. So we have this other faculty of knowing, which is inference. And there are many, many levels of inference, many kinds of inference. So now, if we have time to apply our minds to it, we'll see, I think, that we cannot think of any other means that we have available at our disposal. Now, by what means of knowledge, among all these means that we have, by what means of knowledge do we know that we exist? By what means of knowledge do you know that you are a conscious being, an existent conscious being? We're all very definite about this. I am an existent conscious being. The interesting thing is that when we look into this, we see this is a self-evident fact. We don't need a means of knowledge to know this. It's a self-evident fact. In fact, we'll be seeing that this is telling us something about the nature of the self. The very fact that we don't need a means of knowledge to know the self. It's self-evident. And there's one thing more that we know that we're very certain about. Where does this conscious being reside? It resides inside this body-mind-sense complex. I am an existent conscious being confined to this body-mind-sense complex. Fine. Now, as human beings, we make a conclusion based on this, which has a lot of ramifications for our quality of life. We conclude, because I am a conscious being confined to this body-mind-sense complex, I am limited. I am limited in terms of time. What are the implications of that? I'm mortal. I'm limited in terms of location. It means I'm here, I'm not there. I'm limited in terms of countless attributes. I'm short, not tall. I'm attractive or not. I'm healthy, not very healthy. I'm emotionally stable, not very stable. Intelligent, not very intelligent. Educated, not very educated. Financially secure, not at all financially secure. All of these conclusions are based on this, are ramifications of this conclusion that I am limited. And well, these are all facts. Fine. We're cognitive beings. These are facts. Fine. No, it's not fine. It's not. It may be fine for our fellow creatures. It's not fine for a human being. Why? I am mortal. The whole humanity works against this. I'm here, not there, but I would rather be there, and it's a problem. I'm short, I'm not tall means I'm not tall enough. I have inadequacy, a sense of inadequacy in terms of height. I'm not very financially secure. It means I'm not financially secure enough. There's a sense of inadequacy that is behind all of these things. In short, I'm not enough to be completely satisfied with myself at all times, in all situations. So there's an underlying sense of incompleteness in multiple areas. And we cannot rest content with these conclusions. Why? Because we have a competing experience. We do have the experience of being adequate. Now and then, an experience of being completely not lacking in anything. When you achieve success pursuing a certain goal that you've been after for a long time, you've put a lot of effort into it, and you've achieved that success, there's a moment in which you appreciate that success and you have no sense of lack whatsoever. Or you greet a dear friend or a relative at the airport after a long period of separation, that moment of greeting. Again, you get absorbed by some music, a landscape, a sunset, a child's smile, or you just burst into laughter at a joke. Suddenly you get caught unawares and you find that you have no problem. Those experiences, which actually a human being cannot live without, because without them one would feel suicidal. And if one concludes that one can never have those kinds of experiences again, one can commit suicide. But because in all of these, you experience yourself as a whole person lacking nothing for the moment. And this is the person you want to be. This is the person you make effort to be. This is the person we're driven to make effort to be happy, to be complete. Because why? Standing against this conclusion is this conclusion that I am lacking in a given area. And crucially, this is a crucial thing, is based on this conclusion that I'm lacking. There's also another conclusion based on that, which is, if I fill up that particular gap in terms of filling this goal, or whatever it might be, then I will be fine. I just have to become more what? More knowledgeable, more affluent, more powerful, more virtuous. And then I'll be all right. Everything will all be right. I'll be all right. I'll be complete. I'm happy. And so the struggle is on to become. And this is normal human life. We don't question it. This is our life. The yoga source books say this is not normal. This is based on an error. You are not incomplete. In fact, you are whole. In fact, the source books will say you are the whole. So the situation is just the opposite. You're not incomplete, you are the whole. And in fact, in the words of my teacher, you want to be the whole because that's exactly what you are. It's a very natural drive. So if it's true, why do I experience myself as incomplete? What could be the reason? Suppose you're reading and you need reading glasses. So you've got your reading glasses on. A friend comes to visit and you lay down your book and you put your glasses on perch your glasses on your head and you converse with your friend, and then your friend leaves. And you pick up your book and you don't have your glasses on, you can't see, and you're searching for your glasses. What is the problem here? Why? What is the problem? Anybody?
Glasses are there, but I cannot just find them.
I can't find them. I have them, but I don't know that I have them. So they're with me, but I don't know that. So how am I going to know? Well, I'm going to know by touching my head and finding they're there, or somebody's going to tell me that they're there. Now, how am I going to know that I'm complete, that I'm whole? With all the means of knowledge we have at our disposal, we've so far not discovered this. Human beings are on to be happy. There's positive psychology. There are courses on how to be more happy as a human being. It's taken for granted that this is something we have to become. But if I'm already that happy, complete being, why don't I know? There's a story in the ancient books that illustrates this really well. What is the problem and what is the possible solution? It's not something that would actually ever happen, but it's a very instructive story. 10 students were on a pilgrimage, and the leader of these 10 students had taken permission from the teacher to take them on the pilgrimage with some difficulty. The teacher had some hesitancy about it, but he got permission and he promised that he would keep them all safe and bring them back safe. So there was a river they had to cross. They knew this river was there, but when they reached, it was in spate. And it was a river, just a short, at that point, it was very shallow. They knew they could walk across it. But when they reached there, it was in spate. It was flooded. So they had to swim across. There was no other way. So one by one, they all swam across. And when they got to the other side, the leader, just to make sure everybody was there, he started counting them all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And that's as far as he got. And he kept finding that the 10th man was missing. And so again and again, he counted 4 plus 5 and 3 plus 6. But he was always ending up with this number 9. And so he was in a lot of distress, and he couldn't even remember who was this 10th person. So he was, after exhausting his efforts in all this counting, he was sitting down. They were all sitting down under a tree in despair, having lost the 10th man. And of course, a kind person came along and saw this problem, or saw that they were having some distress, and went over to them and asked them, what is the problem? And it was explained to him, and he said, there's no problem. It's all right. The 10th man is here. So he asked the leader to count again, which he was very reluctant to do. He had some irritation with this number 9. So he counted again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And of course, this kind person said to him, you are the 10th man. Now, how did he come to know that he was the 10th man? What was the means that was used?
Somebody else had to tell him.
Somebody else had to tell him, and had to simply tell him. It was just words. He didn't have to do anything to become the 10th man. He didn't have to undergo any kind of transformation. All he had to do was know. All he had to do was understand. And for that, all he needed was words. So this sentence, the sentence, you are the 10th man, is a stand-in for this sentence from the source books, which says, you are the whole. This is that Tattvamasi equation. And it's an equation. So this equation, this is when we come to the root, the word yoga, yuj, in terms of in its meaning of to join, to connect. This is what is the connecting factor. The factor is the equation. The things that are being connected is the you that is experiencing oneself as limited, with the you who is actually not limited, who is actually whole. And this sentence is the connecting factor. So now, here we have something limited being connected to something that is without limitation. These are opposites. This doesn't make any sense. Well, this is exactly what an equation is. It's something that does not make any sense at first glance. If you look at the equation A 5 plus 4 is 103 minus 94. Now, to someone who's not yet learned to count to 10, this won't make any sense at all. In order to understand it, and it is an equation, it is true, but in order to understand it, there are some prerequisites. One has to be able to count to more than 100. One has to know what is addition. One has to know what is subtraction. On one side are one-digit numbers connected by a plus sign. On the other side, a 3-digit number and a 2-digit number connected by a minus sign. Means nothing to someone who doesn't know this level of arithmetic. But it happens to be true. So too here. So let's start looking at this equation. We also have to look into both sides of this equation. So let's start with you. When we say you, we just simply mean whatever you mean when you say I. Whatever you mean when you say I. And we're taking for granted it is this conscious, existent being, I. So now we start with this I, and this I, with relation to the world, what is its relationship to the world? What is your relationship, you, to, say, the tree outside your window, if you can see one, or just to the computer screen? What is your relationship to it? You're the subject, you're the knower, and this is the object. So if we can agree that I am essentially a subject, and everything that is not me is an object. I am the subject. Whatever is not me is an object. That means anything that I can objectify with any of the means of knowledge that I have available to me, anything that I can objectify is an object, and I am the subject of it. So fine, the computer screen is an object. What about the clothes you're wearing? They're objects. You can objectify them. What about your body, your physical body? Can you objectify it or not? Do you know the color of your own body? Do you know the height of your own body? Yes, we do. And so this body is also an object. The subject is someone who is distinct from this body, just by the very fact that I can objectify it. Now, we can legitimately say, well, this is very different. My body is very different from my computer screen. I'm inhabiting my body. It's me. I am there, present in my body. And this is true. We don't want to let go of that fact. Yes, the body is me, but I am not the body. I'm something more than the body. As a subject, I cannot objectify myself. I'm self-aware, but I can't objectify myself. I can objectify my body. Now, by the same token, can you objectify your breathing? Yes, of course you can. You know whether you're breathing or not. If you just pause and notice, you'll see that you can see the breath coming in and out. Or you can recognize, you can sense with the sense of touch, the breath coming in and out of your nostrils. It's an object. Do you know if you're hungry or not? Yes, you do. You can objectify your hunger. You know when it's there, you know when it's not there. So these are all things that we say, no, I am fair, I am dark, I am tall, I am short, I am hungry, I am not hungry. This I, which now we're trying to discern what is the truth of this I, is actually something that can be extracted. It's actually something that can be subject in relationship to this body, this physiological function, which I can objectify, and which is not essentially I. Okay, now what about the senses? Suppose you with your eyes, you see certain things about your body. But again, your eyes, you know whether you have 20/20 vision or whether you need glasses in order to see properly. You know the condition of your eyes. And yet we'll say, I am farsighted, or I am nearsighted. So this is the I we're trying to extract from the things that is simply mixed up with. And it's true that I is present in all of these things. It's also true that it's something more than, something distinct from all of these things. Now, with all of this, to do all of this, we've been requiring our mind to do this. None of this would have happened without using our cognitive faculty. Now, that mind also, we can objectify. You know, for instance, right now, what kind of a thought you're having. We may not know what's going to be our next thought, but you know what the thought is that you're having now. You know what kind of condition your mind is in. Is it irritable? Is it amused? Is it restless? Is it attentive? All of that you're quite aware of. And all of this can undergo change. What does it mean? It means that I, as the subject, and something different, something distinct from my mind is something I can objectify. Well, maybe I am, maybe I am just a knower. But you know whether you're a knower or not. You know what you know, and you know what you don't know. And you also know whether you're understanding something, whether you're cognitively active, or whether the function of the mind is different, whether it's emoting, whether it's recalling something. Those are different functions. That's not the function of the knower. So what is left when we come after all of this? What is left is what we started with, that I am a conscious, awareful being. Conscious, awareful being. That's the only thing I can finally say, which is true, which is there present in all of these things, but which is also distinguishable from all these things, and is not going to, is not ever going to be vitiated or changed in any way. Let's have a look at this. So just put yourself in a comfortable position and close your eyes and just listen. You're not going to do anything. You're not even listening. You're just letting the listening take place and seeing. You're seeing the meaning of these words. You know the language, and so the meaning will just take place as you hear the words. So you don't do anything, you just be there and let the listening take place. Now I'm going to say some words and let these meaning of these words just transpire in your mind. Tree, apple, leaf, orange, consciousness, book, pen, table, consciousness. Does this consciousness have a form? Car, truck, bicycle, consciousness. Does this consciousness have a meaning? Is it an object? Does it have a form? But does it have a meaning? Again, tree, bark, flower, consciousness. Lake, river, ocean, consciousness. Does this consciousness change? Is it an object? Is it you? Meadow, cloud, sky. For this consciousness, you, is there any boundary? Is there any sense of lack? One more step. Tree. Does this tree thought displace consciousness? Is there any part of the tree thought that is away from consciousness? Dismiss the tree thought, consciousness. Is consciousness affected in any way, or is it the same? What can displace consciousness? You hear a sound, you are there as sound consciousness. You see a form, you are there as form consciousness. You have an emotion, you are there as emotion consciousness. Now, you can open your eyes and we extend the boundaries now of this consciousness. When you look at the computer screen, what is the distance between consciousness and the computer screen? There's a distance between your eyes, your body, and the computer screen. But what's the distance between consciousness and the computer screen? What's the distance between consciousness and the distant star, if you were to look at the distant star? Is there anything separate from consciousness? You'll see that in every cognition, there is the presence of consciousness. Eyes open, you don't need to close your eyes to see this. There's computer consciousness. There's your clothing consciousness, body consciousness, your breathing consciousness. There's this invariable presence of consciousness. This is what is meant by you. This is what the Shastra means. This is what the source books mean by you. This is the true you. If you see this clearly, and I think everybody would have at least had some insight into this. It's not difficult to see because it's self-evident. This conscious being you is self-evident. If you see it clearly, you understand that there's nothing separate from you, essentially. This outcome of this the implications are, if there's nothing separate from you, you will, and you see that, you own that, there's a freedom from any sense of alienation. And so any sense of fear, there's a freedom from the basic human problem, which is this struggle to become. Because this being is complete. And the whole teaching, and now this comes to the word yoga as an end. There are actually 3 verbs for yoga. One means to connect, which is what this equation is doing. It's connecting the limited self to its whole truth. There's also another meaning of yoga, which means samadha, which means resolve. And this is the end, the resolve of the human problem to become resolves in the human recognition of the fullness of his own being. So there's yoga in that sense also. The problem of separation, the struggle to become, gets resolved. And it's important to note this, that it's a result that cannot be and need not be obtained by action or effort. It's only by understanding, nothing else, only by knowledge, because it's a fact. It's an existent fact. This is why this has been discovered in every religious tradition. Every religious tradition has a mystical part of it in which there are some exalted beings that recognize this particular fact. And in fact, my teacher used to say, anywhere, anybody, in any language is saying, you are the whole. That is exactly what the same as what we are talking about. So now, if I'm not able to understand this very well, or I have a lot of questions about it, and I'm not able to see that this really is the truth of myself, but I'm able to see it, but I'm not able to retain it or own it, then what? What does that mean? Well, for this knowledge, like every other knowledge, there are prerequisites. Just like there had to be some arithmetic prerequisites to understand that arithmetic equation. So too, if you want to know, if you want to study calculus, you have to have some basic geometry and trigonometry. There are prerequisites. And this is where yoga comes in as a means for preparing one. So we saw the equation as a means for connecting the limited you to the limitless whole, which is the truth of you. That's the equation. And also yoga as a connecting factor can connect us to the equation itself, in the sense that it prepares us to understand that equation. And this is where Ashtanga yoga comes in. Ashtanga yoga is a complete, actually, except for the last anga. Ashta just means 8 and anga means part. I think you all know that. But this, actually, except for the last step in yoga, this is just a prescription to become a normal, mature human being. If we want to develop into our full humanity, yoga is a program for that. It consists of what? It consists of cultivating certain healthy attitudes and values, just what we need to be human. Non-violence, for instance, as a value. Truthfulness as a value. Not stealing as a value. And as an attitude of contentment. Very important, an attitude of contentment, an attitude of gratitude, an attitude of acceptance of situations. So many things are there. It's a complete program for maturing into a whole human being. And in order to help us do that, there are practices, other practices besides these. These are more cognitive practices as we grow into mature adults is what the Yama Niyama parts of it. Those people will be talking to you in detail, I'm sure, throughout this program for the rest of the next couple of days. So it also, to help us, because these are all functions of the mind, there are these asanas, which they do a lot of things. They give you a lot of, they definitely improve your health. And one crucial thing they do is they bring the nervous system into its proper alignment. And that's the thing that really helps with the mental part of this. So it settles the mind into a naturally relaxed and alert disposition also, not only by bringing the nervous system into alignment, but also by these other practices specifically focused on the mind. Again, which other people will be talking to you about more in detail. They involve learning how to concentrate the mind, learning how to settle the mind, learning how to focus the mind, learning how to make the mind much more subtle in terms of what it can appreciate. And so people, I'm sure, will be talking to you about all of these things. So with this brief introduction to the whole picture of what yoga, what we start with and where we're going, we can see that yoga as a connection is a means to connect oneself to the limitless through the equation. And then again, as a means through Ashtanga yoga to connect us to that knowledge itself in terms of preparing us. And then there's this third meaning of yoga, which comes in with Ashtanga yoga, and that is the meaning of Samyamana. Samyamana is a discipline, and this is most of the yoga practices do involve discipline, which any human being, anybody who's achieved anything in life has to have a certain amount of mental and physical discipline. That comes through Ashtanga, and then that effort is required. For the equation, knowledge is required, but for all these things, it's up to us. Even Bhagavan it says in the Bhagavad Gita that even Bhagavan cannot help us with this. This is our Atma eva bandhu, Atma eva rupuhu. We're either a friend to ourselves or we're not a friend to ourselves. This part is up to us. This is where we make the effort. And then, of course, the result. The result is the resolution, yoga in the sense of samadha, where there's the resolution of what? The whole problem of human seeking. And so then what does one do after that? If there's no more problem, will one be motivated to do anything? Absolutely. One will be motivated to help wherever help is needed and to execute one's responsibilities to the maximum of one's capacity. And one will be able to do this because one is free from anxiety, because that basic underlying problem is solved. And when whatever stage of life, wherever condition of life one finds oneself in, one will just live that life as a contented, contributing person. That's the phala. That's the result of this knowledge. And it doesn't require any other, it doesn't require being in any special ashrama. We see that. We've seen that. We see that in our lifetime. It's there in the Shastra. People of all walks of life can gain this knowledge if they're prepared. If you're prepared to know, nothing can stop it. It's on no external, no externals whatsoever. Okay, so let's, how's the time? Yeah, we're still good. Let's have some questions.
Yeah, we have some, we still have 18 minutes for Swamini to answer a lot of questions. There are already 3-4 in the chat box. So the first question somebody asked is, if an individual is struggling to be adequate, society does not see him as adequate. So teaching of yoga are not holding him. So he's getting depressed and upset. And so
this is true, you know, because everyone else, sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
So that's the question.
Okay, yeah, and this is absolutely true. Like all the conclusions, these erroneous, it turns out, conclusions we have about ourselves, everybody is ready to confirm those conclusions for us. And so this is where the effort is required. We are swimming against the current in that sense. And actually we're swimming, going towards the source. It's like a river going towards the ocean. But in terms of what the society wants to impose on us, it is something quite different. And so you just have to be, really what it takes is really understanding the problem and really being convinced about the solution. Once you think of anything else that you wanted to achieve in life, suppose you really wanted to say you really wanted to be a doctor, and nobody in your family was supporting you. Nobody in our family's ever been a doctor. How do you think you can do this? But you really wanted it. Nothing will stop you. You're convinced that this is a good thing to do and I can do it. And it's worth doing. So it's a matter of your own, we have to get our own Atma Balam, our own strength. And then also a very important thing is satsang. You cultivate friendships with people who are of like mind. Maybe join a study group of people who are studying some Shastra that's relevant to you. You start shifting your circle so that you have a support group. It's not that you drop out of these other things unless they're damaging in some way, then of course, or unless they're encouraging certain things which you know are not good for you, then you can distance yourself from them, that's fine. But if these are just normal interactions, then you develop another circle, which is your support group. Yeah, that will give you strength. Yeah.
The next couple questions are about how often we should do yoga and meditation, once a week or more than that, or what is the best time to do meditation? Is it the Brahma Muhurat or other times?
Yeah, I would say in terms of frequency, it's important to do what you are comfortable with. You don't ever want to be feeling pressured or under any kind of strain and you're doing yoga practices in terms of frequency. So in terms of frequency, or even at all, but in terms of frequency, I would say if you can manage once a week for now and you're comfortable with once a week, then do that, but with the intention that I'm going to slowly build up. And if you can do meditation for 5 minutes and then you get restless, then just do it for 5 minutes for a while. Just do it and then slowly start to increase it, because we don't want to, the last thing you want to do is build up tension, because we're going in the opposite direction. So in terms of time, yes, of a frequency, that slowly build up to whatever is comfortable. A good rule of thumb is, it's kind of like when you're eating and you're disciplined about your eating, when you actually know that you're satiated, but you feel like having one more helping, you don't. And so similarly in yoga, when you're feeling that you're feeling that resolve and you feel like extending it a lot, then just cut it short a little bit. And then the next time you'll be eager to get into it again. So don't let it extend to the point where, okay, I can't do this anymore, I have to get up and do something. Don't let it go to that point. Stop before that point. And that will keep, then you will find it slowly increase, find that lengthening, that time lengthening. Now, in terms of the time, early morning is good because we're not yet assaulted by the pressures of the day. That's the idea. So if you can, if it's possible to do it first thing in the morning when you get up, after you've had a bath, you want to be refreshed to do this. Otherwise we'll fall asleep. It's because it's relaxing. So I'm talking about the meditation part of it. Even the asanas, it's good to do first thing in the morning. That's a good time to do it. But it's not the only time to do it. In fact, meditation you can have short little sessions throughout the day. Whenever you have a moment, you can, and it depends what kind of meditation you're doing. If you're doing mantra japa, that's also an important meditation. Just grab a few moments in the day if you can. Even some of you, if you work in institutions where there's a quiet place.
Please mute yourself.
Yeah. So just look for a quiet place, or just sitting at your desk, close your eyes for a few minutes. Whenever. There's no time you should not meditate. Yeah. So as long as you're not disturbing what things are to be done. This is another important thing of yoga, is that doing our own anushtana, our own things that are to be done, whatever our own responsibilities are, those are the things we have to pay attention. And this is a whole other aspect of it, of doing it as an offering, as part of this whole big ritual that's going on in this universe. This is my little contribution. There are many things, but so as long as those things are not compromised, yeah.
Thank you. Dr. Sunita Agrawal has another question she would like to ask. Sunita ji, you can unmute yourself.
Okay. Thank you, Ravi ji, and चरणों में प्रणाम स्वामिनी जी के. I am bowing to your feet, Swamini ji, and I wrote a question in the chat which was about an individual, a hypothetical question, who is learning yoga and trying to be as adequate in his belief for himself, and he's trying to stand up, and he's struggling because the society is not familiar with the concept that individual can be adequate just the way he or she is. So my question to you is that how important you see is the prevalence of this concept in the society in the day and age of today, to make it possible for that individual that when he's following the teachings of yoga and he's going to consider himself adequate, that he will get that reciprocation, because without that reciprocation, you know, like you mentioned in your talk, there are suicidal thoughts. So can you please, did you understand my question?
I do, thank you. Yeah.
Okay.
The people, yourself and the people who are associated with this person, have to make extra effort to support, because the society never has and never will support this. It's very rare for somebody to go in this direction. So you can encourage the person to, and help the person, reach out to help the person develop a support group. Find satsangs, find people who are, there are lots, I'm sure, within your community of lots of things going on that perhaps some of you who are close to him could even accompany him to these things, so that he gets a support group. And most importantly, you people who are close to him, just make some extra effort, go out of your way to be supportive and help him understand that the society is not going to be, and never has been, it has nothing to do with him. Their rejection of these kinds of practices are just embedded in and they have been in societies throughout the ages. So yeah, I would just say make that extra effort to support him, understanding that it's not going to come out from outside, and help him to understand that it's not going to come from outside, and it has nothing to do with him. It's like that for everybody. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Next couple questions are dealing with, one is that yoga is, most people think that it is to get your body flexible and improvement of the body, resilience. But how about the mind? And the second question is if you can also say a few words about yama and niyama, how to bring them in the life.
Okay. Yeah, it's interesting, yoga's been in this country for like more than 30 years, and it's now become a mainstream thing. They're even using it to, in the military, to heal people from PTSD, and it's really become very mainstream. And so the benefits, the mental benefits are known. They're known, as I say, even in the military. Because what happens is people start doing asanas and they do notice these changes. They do notice changes in their disposition, it's because it's a rishi praptam, these particular things, and so there is that grace that goes along with them. So if people are just committed to it as a physical discipline, that's okay. There's not much you can say, but it does have all these other dimensions, absolutely. And in terms of yama niyama, the yamas, of course, they're the values. They're ahimsa, satya, asteya, brahmacharya, and aparigraha. These are really simple things, actually. Ahimsa is a really important one. There's a reason why we say ahimsa paramo dharmaha. Because if you notice, every other value is connected to ahimsa. So of course, if I strike someone, that's obvious, but even if I say some harsh words, that's himsa. And even if I look askance at someone, that's himsa. If I cheat someone, that's himsa. Now we have to know what is a himsa? What are any one of these values? And again, every tradition has this, something equivalent to this. What I don't want somebody to do to me, that's what I ought not to do to another person unless I want to harm them. And this is a beautiful thing about this whole human form, besides the fact that it can appreciate, this is an extraordinary endowment of the human form, that it can appreciate the limitlessness of its own nature. That mind, that function is there to appreciate one's true nature. It's also an amazing thing that embedded in our psyche is dharma. Embedded in our psyche are these values. Because of this empathy, we know this, like this, the animals also know that they don't want to get hurt, but they don't seem to know that someone else doesn't want to get hurt. But we, however, have empathy, and so we make that extrapolation. I don't want somebody to cheat me, and therefore nobody wants me to cheat them. In fact, we know this so well that if one decides to do that, one uses stealth. One knows that it's not, when we know exactly, nobody needs to be taught dharma. We need to be reminded, but nobody needs to be taught what is right and what is wrong. So we just need to actually, if it really it all comes down to, is we just actually need to be actually true to ourselves, to what we know is right. And that one thing, if you practice ahimsa, all the other values will come, all of them. Even truthfulness. Nobody wants to be lied to. And so you'll also be truthful. That means you don't have to say everything that you know to be true, because saying it might be hurtful. You don't have to say everything that you know to be true, but you don't say what's not true. So the values are based on these principles. Now, there are also disciplines and attitudes. These attitudes, for instance, like santosha, contentment, accepting others, accepting one's circumstances as they are, and then having a sense of not just acceptance, not reluctance, but kind of glad acceptance. That requires a lot of understanding. Again, if we're going to have a value, it requires understanding. What is my place in the scheme of things? What is going on around me? That attitudinal shift is based on a cognitive shift. And that's where the whole teaching actually of that everything here, which every Hindu knows, everything is Ishvara. And so a deep appreciation of that fact will bring in the attitudinal shift, whatever attitudinal shift is required. And if one is not connected to this tradition, it's not also difficult to appreciate the absolute miracle that the continuance of this world is, the growth of a plant from a seed, everything. It requires an alertness and an awareness to understand that we're dealing with something very extraordinary here. We're part of something really very extraordinary. That's the attitudes. And the disciplines, this is where really our effort comes in. We really have to make effort. One of them is cleanliness in terms of externals, and of course our own body, and then also in terms of our antarashaucham, in terms of our own mind, our own thinking. We do have to exercise a little bit of discipline in terms of our mind. Why do I say a little bit? Because this is primarily a transformation of the person, the whole person. The mind is a very delicate instrument, and it's the crucial factor involved here. And so it has to be handled with a lot of care and a lot of sensitivity. We have to be very sensitive to our minds, to not force, because if we force the mind there, it'll backlash. We have to be very, very gentle with ourselves. So, but there's some, and so it's not a question of forcing a certain type of thinking on ourselves, or particularly not judging ourselves for a particular kind of thinking, but just kind of deciding that this thought, this thought and this train of thought is really leading me down a blind alley. It's really leading me somewhere I don't want to go. Or this type of thinking is really not conducive to what my pursuit is. And you also do this all the time in your accomplishments, when you accomplish something. So for example, when you were studying and you were, you know, in the process of getting your degree, or even in a particular course, there were certain times when you just had to focus and study because the exam was coming up. And there were lots of competing thoughts coming in and offers coming in to do this, do that. No, you say no, because that's not going to serve your best interest. You have to pass this exam. You have the bigger picture in mind. And it's the same here. You have a much bigger picture in mind. And so it's the shaucha in terms of the mind is handled in this way. Very, very gently, and cognitively also, understanding what I'm about and what I want. And then there's tapas, which is, it's just, you've all done tapas, because if anybody's achieved anything in life, again, has done tapas. You just are persistent, you're perseverant, and there's a certain, it looks like austerity from the outside, but you're just doing what you know you need to do. It looks like you're denying yourself from the outside. But you're just focused on what you need to do. If you ask any sannyasi, no sannyasi feels like he's ever given up anything. They say, oh, look what you gave up. You gave up this, you gave up this career, you gave up blah. They don't feel like they gave up anything. Like they're just pursuing something more compelling. So there's something more compelling than what these other things were. They've not given up anything. Sannyasa is like that. Any giving up is like that. You give up something good for something better. That's all. Yeah. So that's the same way. That's what the tapas is. And then another one of part of niyama is swadhyaya, the study of your own shastra, your own scriptures, your own holy books. And the other fifth part of niyama is Ishvara pranidhana. And for that, there has to be understanding of Ishvara. Because Ishvara, I tell you, is not to be believed. Ishvara is to be understood. And belief we start with, but that understanding what is Ishvara that's the thing that really brings about the transformation. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Swamini. Sorry, we are kind of running out of time at this point. I see a raised hand, but Pratibha ji, you can put your questions in the chat box, and we'll show that Swamini will answer that.
Yeah, please send them. It's fine. Yeah.
Thank you so much, and I really appreciate you told us so many wonderful things, and I'm sure audience has a lot of more questions, but we are running out of time. So we'll invite Hema ji back again to introduce our next speakers for the next hour.
Thank you. Pleasure to meet all of you.
Thank you so much, Swamini ji.
Thank you, Swamini ji.
Welcome everyone to our next yoga session, and this is by Utsahi yoga team. It is my honor to introduce Professor Lakshman Kumar V. Sannellapanavar. I'm sorry if I didn't pronounce it right. Professor Ji has been in the field of yoga since 1949. He's 86 years now and is still very Utsahi, enthusiastic at teaching yoga to everyone. He established the Institute of Yoga Studies at Karnataka University, Dharwad, Belgaum University, and several other institutions in Karnataka state of India. He served as university faculty for 25 years. He is the first yoga teacher deputed by the Government of India to teach yoga abroad at Jawaharlal Nehru Cultural Center, Embassy of India, way back in 1989 in Moscow for a period of 4 years. His yoga lessons have ran on the national TV in Communist Soviet Union for 2 years, when yoga gained tremendous popularity due to this teaching. He has trained thousands of yoga teachers from different parts of the world, including our very own Vijaya Patil, who keeps energizing us all the time. He has provided free yoga service to the society for more than 70 years and has received several awards and recognitions. For more details, please look at their website, utsahiyogafoundation.org. now it's indeed my pleasure to introduce Vijaya. Vijaya Patil is a daughter of Professor Lakshman Kumar, known as Vijaya to almost all of you here. Vijaya grew up in a yoga family with a mother holding a PhD in yoga, and siblings are also yoga teachers. She's a certified yoga teacher with 25 years of professional yoga experience, holds a master's in computer science from University of Akron, and about 20 years of experience as a software engineer. She's currently the program host at Bharat FM. And we are so happy to have Vijaya in Dayton. Welcome, Vijaya Patil and Professor Lakshman Kumar ji. Audience, please get ready. This is going to be an extraordinarily interesting and useful session. Once again, we are here on the day of Apara Ekadasi. Your possibilities are limitless. And so please join with all your Utsaham for Utsahi Yoga's session. Thank you.
Now, Arunji will play the message from Vijaya's dad, who is in India right now. And for some connection reasons, he could not come on live. So he's sent a message by audio.
Onkara is known as the pranava, that is, it is a melodious sound which can be produced easily, by which you can just feel comfort and pleasure and peace in performing this Onkara, a sound, through which we can control our mind. That controlling the mind or controlling the activities of the mind itself is known as yoga according to Patanjali. That is, yogas chitta vritti nirodha. Patanjali says in this way, controlling the activities or movement of the or vibrations of the mind is known as yoga. And Bhagavad Gita says that yoga karmasu kaushalam. That is, yoga means and doing the things in the perfect way. Anything, whatever you are doing is, if it is excellent, so that is called yoga. Excellence is possible only when the body as well as mind both are involved in performing any work or anything. That excellence, when it comes, it is called yoga. Normal and comfortable working of all or uniform working of all the systems in the body. If all the systems in the body are working normally and naturally, that itself is called yoga, by which we can control our mind. So please remember, controlling the activities of the mind is known as yoga. Yoga chitta vritti nirodha. Yoga karmasu kaushalam. Like that, there are good number of definitions to yoga. So we can try to understand different things and just get the advantages of it. Yoga, in my personal opinion, of about 70 years of my experience, we can learn it, and with the help of the proper teacher, experienced teacher, we can get a lot of benefits out of it. Yoga is so simple and the best, and without any sort of expenditure you can do it. But only the thing is, you must be lucky enough to get the good teacher to just teach the good thing in the best possible way. sitting comfortably and stably is known as asana. That is, the definition of asana may be in this way: sthira sukham asanam. That is, a stable and a comfortable posture is known as asana. You can sit in any way, but the body should be stable and you should feel comfortable. But the principles of certain things, practices should be followed. That is, the backbone should be vertical to the floor, and body should be on the floor, and neck and head will be in line with the backbone. These are the few principles. This yogic practices is the best possible practice, and improving the health of the body, health of the mind. Health of the mind means the stable mind is a strong mind, mobile mind is a weak mind. The very nature of the mind is mobility. It always will be wandering from object to object, subject to subject, place to place. Because of its wandering nature, it loses all its energy and strength, and then finally becomes helpless to do any sort of work. That's why if you can control the mind, mobility of the mind, and mind gets a lot of strength. So here there are two things that we are able to understand. Body we can see, but the mind we are not able to see. But whatever mind tells, and body follows it. So mind is the master, the body is the servant. Whatever mind tells, body does it. So that's why if you can control your mind, you can control the body also, all its activities. That's why, and making the mind stable, which is called yoga, and making the mind, body mobile, it is called yoga. So mobility of the body and stability of the mind, both together, they are called as the yogic systems. So we can go on just learning the things part by part, one by one, and they are very simple things. Anybody can learn without any, there is no age bar, there is no other restriction of the place and other things. If the place is clean, it is enough. If ventilation is proper, it is enough. And either one can practice either in the morning, which is the best possible time, or in the evening, second best possible time, or any time in the day or night, it can be performed. By chance, if you perform it in a particular fixed time, it is the best. Otherwise also, once if you can perform any time in a day or night, and it will be really useful, and one can get all the advantages by this yoga. Man is the unity of jiva, deha, that's the body, mind, which is not visible, body is visible, intellect, and Atman. Atman is the essence of each individual. Each individual has got this essence, and that is called Jivatma. Because it is with every individual, it is called Jivatma, and every individual has got the Jivatmas, and these Jivatmas finally, and they are in the beginning, they are coming from Paramatma. That is, whole universe has got an Atma, which is called Paramat Atma. Parama means Sreshta, that is purest, and that is the main. And these Jivatmas are supposed to get from this Paramatma and come back to the worldly life, and after enjoying the worldly life, they have to finally go back to Paramatma and join there. That is called Moksha, Atma Sakshatkara. That is final goal of every individual living. If one can achieve it, that is the final stage of an individual. I feel that this yoga can be performed by everybody. Everybody can get the advantages of it and get whatever one feels like getting. If one desires, he will definitely get it if he is performing yoga. That is, anything desired, can be achieved by performance of yoga. As I hope one can practice and get the advantages of this yoga. I wish that all of you can try to get the final stage, that is complete bliss or full-fledged peace of mind. Relax. Thank you very much for organizing this. In future, if you like, you can introduce it in the form of lessons also. Thank you very much once again to all the people, authorities of this center.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Vijayaji, for bringing this tape to us. And we are so happy and proud. How many people at age 86 can think about sitting like the way he was sitting? That is all because of yoga. So I think that it's a practical demonstration of what yoga can do for you. And Vijaya is going to now show it in person how to do it. She's going to give us some basics, but this is not something you can learn in one day. So it is a journey. So please watch what she's doing and then ask. Maybe we'll have some question answer session afterwards.
Sure. Thank you so much, Ravi ji. Thank you, Hema ji. Thank you, Arun ji, and everybody. I am so happy to be here. And thanks to all the attendees from different parts of the world. You have joined us today. And this is a special occasion, as Hema ji mentioned. And also, what a blessed way to have this weekend. It is morning for us here in Dayton and different parts of the day for rest of you. But it is definitely a blessed occasion to be together. And on behalf of Utsahi Yoga Foundation, I would like to thank Hindu Temple of Dayton, the board, committee members, and all the volunteers for organizing this wonderful event and for inviting us to participate in this. And also, we would like to take this opportunity to thank the ex-board members, ex-committee members of the temple and the larger Dayton community for supporting all of our Utsahi activities for the past 12 years. Since 2009, we've been having free yoga sessions here at our beautiful temple. If you've not visited, once the pandemic is over, I really request you all to visit our temple. It's a beautiful place and very holy here for us. And also in the surrounding areas, in different areas that we conducted. So thank you again for all yours. So we heard Swamini Agamananda's wonderful talk about yoga and meditation. And we heard our Guruji talk about different definitions of yoga, how yoga is defined in various ways, and also how the mobility of the body and stability of the mind is possible through yoga. As Raviji mentioned, with a regular, consistent practice of yoga, even at a later age in life, we will still be healthy. We will still be Utsahi, enthusiastic to lead our life. So that is why we all should begin the practice of yoga at any point. No point is late for us. So any time we can start yoga. And as Guruji mentioned, it is for everyone. So that is what, if you are not familiar with what we do at Utsahi, Utsahi is the name of our yoga foundation, and which actually basically signifies our spirit, our enthusiastic spirit to teach yoga to everyone. And also what we try to do is we try to bring the traditional Indian yoga. Of course, over all these years, yoga has been modified in different ways. So we try to bring the traditional Indian yoga and teach it in a very simple, scientific and practical way. So, as you will see today, in our practice, we will touch upon a few things, but there's a lot to cover, which is not possible in a half an hour's time, but we would like to continue this association. So please be in touch with us even after this session. So let's put all the talk into practice now, and I hope you are ready for it. So what we would like to say is, as Guruji mentioned, we have to learn to follow the basic principles. So the basic principles I will be trying to remind you throughout the session. However, we will begin with just a few things. If you are new to the practice of yoga, we definitely recommend you talk to a physician and please assess your health conditions and only select the suitable ones for you, suitable practices for you. That will help you with your health improvement, and also the other side of it will not harm you in any way. So anything, whether it is yoga or physical exercise, if it is not done in the right way, there is a potential that you may be harmed by it, and it will not end well, right? So we don't want that to happen, and that is the reason we always recommend, please do get yourself evaluated by our able physicians in your community, and then you select the practices and we will help you with that as well. So the basic principles that I would like to quickly touch upon before we start our practice today is, firstly, doesn't matter where you are, whether you're sitting on the floor, whether you're sitting in a chair or a sofa, please try to loosen yourselves. Just relax physically first. So try not to hold your body tight. That's all it means. So assess yourselves, evaluate yourselves, and throughout the practice, we will try to do the same. So we will try to put a conscious efforts in the beginning, and once we do regular practice, it will become very effortless. So that is what we are trying to do here. So wherever you are, kindly just relax yourselves, loosen your whole body. And then secondly, as you even may have noticed Guruji, even when he was explaining, he had kept his eyes closed, right? So that is one way of being away from visual distractions. We are trying to keep our eyes closed as much as possible throughout our yoga practice. And we are trying to be one with ourselves. That also helps us relax our mind and brain, okay? So please try and keep your eyes closed as much as possible. And next thing is, please try and bring your awareness to not only your whole body, all the parts of your body, your mind. So your mind is not wandering everywhere else, and also to your breathing. Breath is life, as Guruji always explains in classes. As long as we're breathing, we are living, right? So we have to give a little bit of focus to our breathing, and that is an essential part of our yoga practice. So that is one of the main reasons there's a difference between how a physical exercise is done versus yoga practice. So let us try to incorporate the mind-body connection aspect here, and also the breathing. So let us learn the art of relaxation and art of breathing. If we just learn these two today, even if we haven't practiced a lot of yoga asanas, you are doing great, okay? So that is what I assure you. So let us try to incorporate art of relaxation and art of breathing today. So the next principle I would like to say is, please do not hold your breath. So that is where the breathing part comes. Continue breathing normally. Sometimes when we are practicing something that we're not used to, we may tend to hold our breath. And we may tend to hold our body tight. So try not to do that, please. Just keep yourself relaxed. And also, couple other things that we would like to mention is, please do not get disappointed if you're not able to do anything. Do not worry about it. There are 84 lakhs of yogasanas. That is what it said. So amongst them, you don't need to know. Nobody can learn everything. So let us try to learn just about 8 or 10 practices, okay? And we will find the ones that suit you the best. So that we'll do. And also, the next one is, please try not to overdo anything. That is when you might tend to pull a muscle or you might hurt yourselves. So having said all this, we will keep reminding certain things during your practice. So let's get started, please. Please be seated in a relaxed way. I hope you can all see me and hear me well. I'm going to just sit on the floor here, crisscrossing the legs. If possible, kindly do this. This is Sukhasana, or the comfortable posture. Please do keep your back straight, back, neck and head in one vertical line. Keeping your eyes closed. Breathing normally. And slowly going for deep breathing. So breathe in a long, deep breath in, followed by a long exhalation or breathing out. Just please continue this slow, deep breathing. You can place your palms on the knees. Let your whole body relax. Please bring your mind to the practice. Try not to think about anything else for the next 15 minutes. Just think about how this practice of yoga will help you with better quality of life and ultimately to help us all reach the goal in life of moksha. Please continue to relax, breathing normally, then going for deep breathing. Now we will add one more step here. After you take a long deep breath in, during exhalation we will recite Om. So please try and find the right pitch and tone for you. And that right pitch and tone, you will start feeling the vibrations being generated inside you, which will not only calm yourself, like your brain waves, and you feel more peaceful, it will also pass on the peace and calm to the surroundings. So let us take a long, deep breath in, and during exhalation, one more time, please. You're just breathing in a deep breath, and during exhalation, keep your mouth open just a little bit, lips in the shape of O, and produce this long sound of O, followed by closing the lips, bringing them together, producing the sound of Ma, just for a little bit. So a long O followed by a Ma during exhalation. Let us try this just a couple more times, please. Try to remember to relax your whole body. Bring your mind to your practice. Just follow the recitation of Om, please. Breathe in. During exhalation, Om. Last time.
Vijaya, sorry to interrupt you. Can you come little closer to the computer? Your audio is getting broken a little bit. Sorry about that.
No, that's okay.
Okay.
So let us breathe in again. One last time, please. Breathe in. During breathing out. Please sit in that silence. Learn to enjoy the silence. Continuing to breathe slowly. Keeping our mind and body connected. Open your eyes, please. Now we will go for very simple warm-ups. Okay, so we are trying to focus on different parts of our body. So let us start with our hands and upper extremities, and then we will go to lower extremities. So when we are talking about upper extremities or hands and fingers, please bring your palms in Namaste. And we will try and coordinate breathing here with our practice. Breathe in. Apply gentle pressure to all the fingers while pushing them against the other finger of the other hand. Now hold that position, please. Feel the effect of that practice. Now, slowly as you breathe out, you relax. Just one more time. Breathe in. Hold, please. breathe out. Very simple movements which will get us started with our practice. Now we will bend our hands at the wrist, slowly breathing in. So we are not in a hurry. Please remember that. We have to do simple movements. Hold the position there. Then slowly bring your hands back to the starting position. So the simple movements done in a slow manner. On the other side, please. Breathe in as you do the action. Hold the position. Breathe out and come back to the starting position, please. Let's try this just one more time. Breathe in. Hold, please. Feel the effects of the practice. Where are you feeling the pressure? Where are you feeling compression and extension? Just try to understand. Breathe out. Back to the starting position, please. Let's try it one last time on the other side. Very, very slowly. I hope you coordinated breathing along with the movements. Now let us make a fist of our palms. Slowly breathing in, bringing all the 5 fingers in each hand together and apply gentle pressure, please, in the fist. So you're feeling the pressure in all of the fingers. That's even going towards the arm, other part of the hand. Now hold that position. Let your body benefit from that movement, from that position. Now slowly as you breathe out, you extend your fingers, please. Extend them, stretch them. Let that flexibility, let that extension help us. Now once again, breathe in. Hold, please. Breathe out. Extend. Now, once again, let us make a fist here. We will go for rotation at our wrists here, please. Inward rotation followed by outward rotation. Breathe in. Very slow movement, please. Breathe out and relax. So the rate of movement should be almost the same as the rate of your breathing. That's slow and synchronized. Okay. Now we will turn the fist towards the floor. Let's try to do rotation of the wrist once again. Breathe in. Breathe out. Relax. Breathe in. Breathe out. Relax. So only those parts of the body that we are trying to give the exercise to or movements to should be moving. Rest of it can be stable. So here is how we are trying to gain the stability of the body also. Okay. So let us go ahead and raise our hands parallel to each other and parallel to the floor, please. Now we'll go for rotation of our elbows. Breathe in. Slow rotation only at the elbows. Try to be aware of the movement. Then after you're done breathing in, just breathe out and complete the rotation, please. And until the breath is fully left out, just hold there in that final stage or the starting stage. Let's go for the next rotation. Breathe in. Breathe out and relax. Let's try the same in the reverse direction, please. Breathe in. Breathe out. Relax. Breathe in. Breathe out and relax. Now you can imagine just by holding our hands or arms in that position for a little longer, we'll already start building the strength in our hands and arms. Okay. Now either you can kneel down or you can continue sitting in the same position. We will go for rotation of our shoulders. Now we'll take care of our shoulders. So this particular practice you can either do by raising your hands. If not, you can just do shoulder rotation like this. Okay. Whichever is more suitable for you, please. Breathe in. Try to synchronize breathing always. If you're raising your hands, just go for a complete stretching as much as possible. Don't force yourselves, just stretching. And the shoulder should get a rotation. Then breathe out and end the rotation. Let's try it one more time. Breathe in. Breathe out. So the length of the breathing and breathing out and breathing in is completely dependent on your comfort level. So how long can you breathe in versus how long can you breathe out? So we do not need to keep account of it. Just do what is comfortable for you, please. Just assess yourselves. Now let's try and do the same in the reverse direction. Breathe in. Breathe out and relax. One last time, synchronizing breathing, please. Breathe in, breathe out, and relax until the breath goes out. Now, kindly, if you are able to extend your legs, please do that. Now, what we'll do is we'll just sit in the long sitting posture. If you are sitting in a chair, you can still practice this. We can always modify a lot of these practices to suit senior citizens, to suit people having some physical limitations. So we can always modify that. Now, slowly, what we'll do is we just do flexion and extension for the toes. Breathe in, bend your toes, please. All 5 toes of each feet here. Then hold that position. Let us see a little bit of that. Now, slowly, as you breathe out, you stretch them, extend them. Okay. Slowly, once again, breathe in, hold, breathe out, extend. Let's try the same with the feet now. Breathe in, stretch, please. Stretch your bend your feet forward. Feel your stretching all over the top of your legs here, right? And then slowly breathe out and bend your feet backwards. Now you will feel like there is quite a bit of stretching on the lower side of our legs, on calf muscles, thighs, right? Let's try it once again. Breathe in, bend your feet forward. Very simple practices that anybody can try, really. Only up to your comfort level. Always remember to breathe out, bend back. Always remember for your physical limitations. Now let's keep our legs further apart. We will go for rotation of our ankles. Breathe in, slowly rotate. So just your legs are moving, the rest of your body is stable. Breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, relax. Let's try this in the reverse direction, please. Breathe in, very slowly. Breathe out and relax. This one last time. Trust me, your body is thanking you for doing these simple movements that we don't do on a day-to-day basis, and that is why stiffness starts developing in our body. Okay, now let's go back to either Sukhasana or sitting in your chair. We will take care of our neck now. Okay, so slow, simple movements for neck. Out, please. For neck movements, we breathe out in the beginning while we bend our neck forward. Slow movement, please. We don't want you to pull a muscle or get hurt. So as you bend forward, you will feel the stretching on the back of our neck and a compression in the front of the neck here. Just hold that position, please. Now, slowly as you raise your head up, now take your head backwards, your neck is bending backwards, you're breathing in. Hold the position, please. Again, bend backwards as far as you can do comfortably. Then hold that stretched position. So you feel the stretching on the front of the neck now, compression in the back. Once again, let's try forward bending. Rest of your body is stable, only the neck is moving. Here we need to forward bending. If at all your chin is touching your neck here, there may be a slight pressure on the airway. That is the reason why we breathe out during this practice. Slowly, keep your head up. Keep your head back, please. Neck backward bending as you breathe in. Relax, please. Come back to the starting position. Now let's turn over to one side and breathe out. Hold the position, please. Breathe in. Come back to the starting position. Just one more time on the other side. Breathe out. Breathe in and relax. Now let's try to bend on one side. Breathe out. Breathe in. Now bend on the other side. Out and breathe in. So since we are already time-wise 8:42 here in Dayton, what I would request Arunji, please to monitor the chat. If there are questions, kindly interrupt me. Otherwise, I will continue to take advantage of the next 10-15 minutes so that way we can all do more practice. Okay? Thank you.
Thank
Arunji.
you. Yeah, sure, Vijay. Definitely we'll do
Thank
that.
you, Arunji. And attendees, please feel free to put in questions. Okay? So now let us go ahead for the next movement where we are bending our neck forward. Now take your neck to one side. We are going for neck rotation. But please do this very slowly. I don't want any of you to feel giddy after practicing this. Now slowly take your neck to the back. Literally very centimeter by centimeter or a fraction of an inch by a fraction of an inch movement. Okay. Now take your neck to the other side. Bring your neck to the starting position. Now let's try and coordinate breathing, please. Breathe in. Then continue turning your neck very slowly, please. Remember, you're trying to help your body and your mind. Do this simple, slow practice, synchronizing breathing, and keeping your mind with the practice, with our body here. Now let's try to do the same in the reverse direction, please. Bend your neck forward again. Take your neck to one side. Start breathing in. Slowly breathe in. Continue the practice, please. And once you're done breathing in, just follow it by exhalation or breathing out. Okay, just one last time, please. In. Breathing out. Relax, please. Relax. You'll already start feeling you're feeling more relaxed, you're feeling your stiffness is less. Now let us go for one more practice right here. If you are able to spread your legs, extend your legs and set, it's okay. You can do that. Now, you can also try holding your chair if you're sitting in a chair and trying to do this as well. Okay. You're going for trunk twisting. Slow rotation of the trunk at the trunk base, not just your upper body, trying to rotate at the trunk. Place your palms at a comfortable distance from the body. Now we're trying to bend forward. Bend forward, please. Go as far as you can go. Continuously seated. So your hips are still please on the floor. These are hips that we will you may not be able to touch the forehead to the floor, that's okay. However far today, slowly come back, please. Come back and untwist yourself. Now, shall we try and do the same on the other side? Slowly, let us go for it. Now, this time, every time there's a pressure on the upper body or chest, allow the breath to go out. We need not force breathing in. So, just when we twist our trunk and we're bending forward, allow the breath to go out. Please remember to continue being seated with your hips on the floor, just touching only your upper body. Keep your eyes closed, try to feel the effects of the practice, please. Hold that position, let your body be benefit from this position. Compression. Right? Now, slowly come back, please. I hope you feel that the this practice. Now let us go for whole body stretching. And this one can be done either while lying down in Shavasana, or I will show you the other side or other way of doing this, where we can stand up and do it. So if you are still on the floor, you can just lie down on your back fully and then do the same stretching there. Okay. So what we're trying to
Vijaya, yeah, I have a question.
yes.
So there are two questions basically. Sorry, it will be probably helpful to answer the questions first.
Sure, please.
So first question is, does Utsahi Yoga integrate other standing movements? I'm not sure if you understand that.
Yeah. So I believe what they mean is whether there are any practices while standing up. That's how I understand it. Yeah, so yes, definitely. And as we mentioned at the beginning, it's very hard to cover everything in one session, and that will just half an hour or 40 minutes. So the things that we just did were the warm-ups kind of, and then we go for standing, we go for Surya Namaskara, we do sitting practices, the different asanas, Padmasana to various different asanas, and also we do various things while lying down. So there are a lot of it covered. So yes, the standing ones are definitely part of it.
Great. Second question, Vijaya, from the same person, from the Christina, Christine, is do we hold any positions for a set length of time or breaths?
Yes, correct. So asana, as in Guruji's talk, as we heard, sthira sukham asanam is the definition of an asana, where what we are trying to achieve is the stability. So when we are trying to achieve that, yes, at the end of asana, the final position of an asana, for example, the sukhasana that we were sitting in, we try to hold that position. But here, again, the length depends on your comfort level. But yes, for asanas, it is important to hold that position at the end of it. That is how we achieve the strength in the body, as well as the stability of the mind is also achieved during that time. Any other questions?
Yes, thank you, Vijaya. The other question is that does Utsahi Yoga has any practices that help with sleep?
Yes, definitely. So what I would recommend is, like I just mentioned, Shavasana. So the relaxation is what is key. Relaxation is when we learn the art of relaxation properly, whether it is during our yoga practice or that art of relaxation that we learn in class. If we apply it throughout our day, it reduces the stress level that we have. It reduces the anxiety that we have. And that in turn helps with the sleep. So a lot of folks start getting better sleep after they start practicing yoga regularly. And that is the reason. So it helps us in various ways, and definitely it helps us with the sleeplessness problem, or, if you're not having a regular sleep cycle, it helps us. But for that, what I would suggest is kindly attend yoga classes regularly, learn the art of relaxation well, and try to apply that throughout the day. And so yoga is can be done in small chunks. You need not spend an hour every day. If you are able to spend 5-10 minutes throughout your busy day, you can still get some benefits from it. So yes, that's how it helps. Any other questions, please?
Thank you, Vijaya. No other questions in the chat, but I have given the capability for you to unmute. So if you have any questions you would like to talk directly with Vijaya, please feel free to unmute yourself. But in the meantime, Vijaya, if you can show us a couple of other.
We'll just continue practicing. That way, if you have questions, please stop me. So now what you're doing is, while standing up, just extend your hands up and slowly stretch up. Even while you're sitting, you can do this, right? Just stretch up. So what you're doing here is the upper half of the body is stretching up, right? And the lower half, you can even try and do on your tippy toes. So the whole body is stretching up. So if you're lying down on the floor, what you can do is the lower half of the body, you can stretch towards the bottom. And if you are losing balance, please don't worry about it. Come to the wall, take support of the wall, and try to do the same. You're putting your hands on the wall and slowly taking support of the wall, extend, stretch your whole body. And please benefit from this stretching. As you do this, just breathe in. Breathe in and stretch for the position moments. Slowly, as you breathe out, you come back to the starting position, right? So this can even be done in the chairs. Just breathing in, full body stretching, right? Stay there and then slowly breathe out and come back to the starting position, right? Very simple practices. Now let us go for Padmasana. Whoever can practice Padmasana can try it, please. If not, you can just go for Ardha Padmasana. For Padmasana, try to do one leg on the opposite side. The other leg is underneath the other thigh. So that's Ardha Padmasana. Now for the complete asana, you go for the other leg also. But place it on the thigh. If not, every movement is important. Making no movements, putting in no efforts is not going to help us. So just try what you can. Now, whichever is in your final position, kindly keep your eyes closed. Please maintain a good posture. Remember, your back, neck, and head should be in one vertical line. This is where we are now learning to hold the position, and that is how we are building the strength of our body. If you are able to keep your hands free, please place your palms on the knees. Please do not hold your breath. Remember the basic principles that I spoke about at the beginning. Do not hold your body tight. Relax your whole body. Continue normal breathing and try and hold the position only as long as comfortably possible by you. Now slowly relax, please. Slowly relax. Let us go for one more asana, which is Vajrasana. And Padmasana also, if you started with the right leg, the second time, please start with the left leg and try. In yoga, we try to give equal benefits to both sides of the body, right and left. And we feel the difference. If we are paying attention, we feel the difference of starting with the right leg versus starting with the left leg. Now let's go for Vajrasana or diamond pose. If you are able to bend one leg and place the foot by the hip, it is half lotus, half Vajrasana, half diamond pose. If possible, go for bending the other leg also. Okay. Now what we are trying to do is we are trying to sit on the floor in between the legs. That is what we will try to do. But in the beginning, it may not be possible, which is okay. So if you're sitting on your heels, that's fine. But with regular practice, you will slowly be able to achieve that. So please try to understand the principles, techniques well. Then you can practice to achieve those. If your hands are free, keep them on your knees. If they are not free, if you need support, please continue to take support. Whatever is easily possible by you. Now, once again here, final stage of an asana, we are aiming for sthira and sukha, meaning stability. So try not to wobble, please. Try to be stable and try to find comfort in here. Even though we have assumed a position or posture here, we're still trying to relax our body as much as possible. Try not to hold our body tight. Now, those of you who are able to continue, please just spread your legs apart. And this is Mandukasana or the frog pose. Okay? Just spread as much as possible, put them apart. Now, if possible, place your palms on the knees. Once again, your eyes closed, final position of an asana. Trying to maintain a good posture. Breathing normally, relaxing body and mind. Just observe the flow of your breath, please. Observing the flow of your breath will try and help you to keep your mind in your practice. Slowly come back, please. Relax. Now, very, very slowly extend your legs, please. Otherwise, there's a possibility of failing yourselves because we don't do this on a regular basis, so we might be having that stiffness. All right. Now, bring your soul together. Slowly try to pull them back, please. See how far you can pull them. Take support of your hands. Just interweave the fingers now. Wrap your toes with your palms. Pull the feet closer to your body, as close as possible. Then slowly push your thighs and knees to the floor. Once again, straighten your back. Keep your back, make your head in one line. Just try what you can do, please. Even a little bit of progress is commendable. Please sit at ease here. Try to relax. Not letting any part of your body tight. Slowly.
Sunita ji, you can ask your question by unmuting yourself.
Anybody has
Okay,
a
sure.
question?
I do have a comment
Yes, please.
to Vijaya,
Yes, sir.
and I just wanted to share it with other participants that since I have learned this neck exercise, how greatly I have benefited, because I practice telemedicine and I'm sitting behind this computer screen all day talking to my patients, and my neck gets so stiff. And the trick for me, what worked out is I learned from physical therapy that you bend your neck forward and then you take it back, and it was helping me, but not all the way. When I learned from Vijaya that you have to also synchronize your breathing and breathe in and breathe out, and it was an aha moment for me. And I said, oh my goodness, it was so strenuous, and when I breathe in and breathe out simultaneously at that time, it makes a whole lot of difference. So I wanted to share that with the participants, that it seems like a very small thing, but it made such a big difference for me in my neck stiffness. So I can only appreciate it and thank you, Vijaya, that it has immensely helped my neck. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sunita ji. Very nice of you to share. And this is the kind of feedback that we hear from a lot of our participants. Very small things that we have focused, that we try to teach in class, helps greatly. So thank you so much, Sunita ji, for sharing that. And I would like to also mention that as you have heard about our Guruji, Professor Lakshman Kumar, so he has spent his whole life just for yoga. That was his main profession. So he's thought a lot before he's put these yoga programs together that all of us Utsahi teachers teach everywhere. So if you have a specific problem, please do talk to us. We will be able to, consult our experts on the team, and we'll be able to get the best for you. So that
Actually,
is our...
I do. It's my right hand because of the use of computer mouse constantly. By end of the week, I can see the pain coming, and then over the weekend I recover, and then the cycle goes on.
Correct, Sunita ji, because I worked as software engineer for about 20 years, and the same thing happened to me. Carpal tunnel syndrome started coming in because we just work too many hours and we do not take those breaks to practice yoga. And these simple movements were introduced by Guruji for this reason, because a lot of professionals were taking our classes and they were having these other different problems. So thank you for sharing that, Sunita ji. And so
Sure.
we are at the top of the hour. But would you like to continue the practice? I would leave it to Arunji and others, Hemaji, Raviji. If anybody is interested for another 10 minutes, we can practice yoga. If not, we can disperse whatever's
I
preferred.
think, Vijayaji, you've done an excellent job in basically not only teaching some of the things, you have given a great concept of the mind-body relaxation by doing these yoga postures, which were done very slowly and bilaterally, So that is very important for people to take home as a message, that yoga is not an exercise. What she did was very slowly and very gently, and just slowly kind of flexing your body, whether it starts with your hand, your elbow, your feet, your neck, and everything. And then you go to the more difficult portion. She went into Padmasana, which most of us cannot do. And you saw her father sitting in that posture at age 86. It just tells you that what yoga can take you. I think that message is the most important part. So thank you so much.
Raviji.
And we'll stop here. The only thing I want to also add that if today's lesson, what you learned just now with Lakshman Kumarji and Vijaya, and with the Swamini's lecture, if you remember that you are complete, you are the consciousness, and you are it. You don't need outside world to give you happiness. You are the happiness within you. So if those messages you can take home, that's wonderful. And in the
Raviji, may I interrupt you just
Sure,
for a
sure.
second? I saw a question in the chat
Sure.
asking how to connect to my classes. So what I would like to quickly mention is anybody who's interested, we just practice for 15-20 minutes. Imagine if you spend an hour, how good you'll feel, you know, at the end of the class. So we do it similar way. We just, so if you want to contact us, please send an email to utsahiyogafoundation@gmail.com. And the website, as Hemaji mentioned, is utsahiyogafoundation.org. So we have more information there. I'll be more than happy. If you know me already here in Dayton, you know how enthusiastic I am to teach you all. So please contact me. Don't hesitate. And that Utsaha Arunji comes from my father, as you saw. So thank you so much. That's
more I would like to add to that, Vijayaji. All your teachings are free. That is another good part. You don't have to pay to a yoga.
Thank you for bringing that up. Yes, please. And so that is what Guruji did all of his life. He's given free yoga service to the community everywhere around the world. And we've continued that. So these are free yoga sessions. So please go ahead and contact us if you're interested. Thank you.
And Arunji has put a question there that we, give us your feedback, because Temple would love to provide these on an ongoing basis, depending on how much interest people show. So your feedback is very important. And don't forget that we have an afternoon session at between 4 to 6, and you will see a little different variety of yoga and meditation from the Art of Living trained teacher. He's here, I could see him. And as well as Brahma Kumaris will be giving their Raj Yoga demonstration and the healing process due to that. So there is a lot of variety of things coming later this afternoon and tomorrow. So please attend all sessions. Thank you.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, and then also I just wanted to add that in case you forget the email to contact Vijaya, you can contact anybody at the temple. We know Vijaya very well, and we will forward all those queries to Vijaya for sure. Thank you, Vijaya. We really appreciate you being here for your Utsahi.
My pleasure. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone. And hopefully we will have a link on our temple website soon to be developed by both Ajay and Arun, so that they can contact you through the temple website too. You and all the yoga teachers in town. We are blessed to have so many yoga institutions in Dayton. Truly, it's a spiritual town. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah,
thank you, Hema.
So
thank you, Raviji.
Yeah, thank you.
We'll see you at 4 o'clock.
Yep.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Vijaya.
My pleasure. Thank you. Namaste.